Hello there, listener. Welcome back to another episode of Sex Here and Now. As always, I am your host, Matt Lockman. I'm a licensed clinical therapist and AASECT certified sex therapist. Before I get started, please subscribe and rate this podcast. And while you're at it, head on over to YouTube and follow Cleveland Sex Therapy for more sex positive content. Some of you may already be here watching this video, and what I would like to say to you is hi, please like and subscribe. So, I was recently in session with a client who brought this topic up, and it got me thinking about how often I hear this as a therapist. Feeling neglected is not a new feeling for humans. We can experience it from time to time, and we can notice it more, especially when we are in higher states of stress and vulnerability. Feeling neglected, it usually isn't intentional, but it can be. And I will address that a little bit more on later in this episode. Most of the time, people in partnerships do not realize that they are neglecting their partner. And that is a key to remember as we unpack this. So let's zoom in on the sexual part of this. When someone says, I feel sexually neglected, what they're often saying is, I don't feel wanted. I don't feel prioritized. I don't feel chosen. Sex is rarely just about orgasm. It is about connection. It is about being seen in your desirability. It is about knowing that your partner turns towards you instead of away from you. There is actual research that backs this up. Studies on sexual satisfaction consistently show that feeling desired is strongly linked to overall relationship satisfaction. The great Emily Nagoski talks about this in Come As You Are, especially around the idea that desire is context dependent. When stress goes up, desire often goes down. And if your partner is in survival mode, juggling work, family, mental health, maybe even their own shame around sex, their sexual energy is going to shift. That does not mean that you are not attractive. It means the system that your partner is in is overloaded. There's also research on attachment theory here from John Bowlby and later adult attachment research by Sue Johnson that shows when we feel distance from our partners, our nervous system can interpret that as a threat. So if sex decreases, and sex is one of your primary ways of feeling connected, your body might register that as abandonment. You're not being dramatic. This is just biology. Now, I want to talk about a term that does not get discussed enough in mainstream conversations: emotional anorexia. Emotional anorexia is when someone withholds emotional intimacy, not always maliciously. Sometimes it is just protective. Sometimes it's learned. Sometimes it is modeled from family systems where vulnerability was not safe. You know if you are one of those people. But emotional anorexia can show up as shutting down, avoiding hard conversations, not initiating affection, staying busy so you don't have to engage with your partner. And when that happens in a sexual relationship, sex often becomes collateral damage. I have seen this in my own life. I remember a time when I told my partner, Jim, how I was feeling neglected. And let me be clear here, Jim is a phenomenal partner, but we hit a stretch where we were basically just ships passing in the night. Busy schedules, stress, life, work. I noticed that, I was the one that was initiating sex more often. I was reaching for him in bed and getting a tired sigh instead of a pull in sort of kiss. Y'all, my brain started telling me a story. Maybe he's not attracted to me. Maybe I'm too much. Maybe maybe, maybe. The reality was, he was exhausted and in his own head. But because we did not name it right away, my nervous system filled in the blanks. This is where attachment styles come in. If you lean more anxious, you may experience sexual distance as panic. If you lean more avoidant, you may pull back further when you sense pressure. So now you have one partner pursuing and one partner retreating, not because they do not love each other, but because their coping strategies are colliding. Research shows that couples who can talk openly about sex report higher levels of both sexual and relational satisfaction. Let's just pause right there. When you talk about sex, you tend to have better sex. Yet, sex remains one of the least discussed topics in long-term relationships. We will talk about kids, finances, vacations, and politics, but sex, we just hope it fixes itself. Let me tell you, it rarely does. So, what do you do? Matt, what do we do? Well, first, curiosity over conflict. Instead of saying, you never want me anymore, try, I have been feeling disconnected lately and I miss you. Can we talk about it? That shift right there, that matters. The first one invites defensiveness. The second one invites dialogue. Second, communicate about sex and vulnerability. And I do not just mean frequency, I mean meaning. Ask each other what sex represents. Is it stress relief? Is it reassurance? Is it play? If you do not understand what sex symbolizes for your partner, you might miss why they are hurting. Third, approach instead of avoid. When we feel neglected, we often protect ourselves by shutting down or withholding, but that tends to amplify the distance. Attachment research constantly shows that secure bonds are built when partners turn towards each other in moments of distress, not away. That might mean scheduling intimacy for a while. It might mean non sexual touch. It might mean seeing a sex therapist. And it might mean, I am scared we are drifting and I do not know what to do. Now, I said earlier that neglect can sometimes be intentional. If your partner repeatedly dismisses your concerns, mocks your desire, weaponizes sex, or uses withholding as punishment, that is not just mismatched libido. That is harm, and that deserves a different level of intervention. And quite honestly, you gotta get the hell out of there. But in most cases, sexual neglect is not about cruelty. It is about misattunement. Two nervous systems or more trying to survive at the same time. If you are the one that's feeling neglected, your longing makes sense. Wanting to be wanted is human. If you are the one being accused of neglect, pause. Do not get defensive. There is likely pain underneath that complaint. Sex is just not an act, it is a barometer. When it changes, it is usually pointing to something deeper: stress, resentment, exhaustion, shame, disconnection. So instead of, why aren't we having sex? Maybe ask, where did we stop turning towards each other? That question will take you so much further. And if you are listening or watching this and thinking, whoa, this is us, let this be your nudge. Approach, get curious, lead with vulnerability instead of accusation, because most couples do not fall apart from lack of love. They fall apart from unspoken needs. And you deserve a relationship where your desire is not something you have to swallow. Sex Here and Now is written and recorded by me, Matt Lockman. For more resources, education, or support, you can find me on all social platforms at Cleveland Sex Therapy. Thanks for being here, and as always, stay curious.